Hello, I'm Dr. David Boyd, the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Human Rights and the Environment. Ladies and gentlemen, the extraordinary diversity of life on Earth is in grave danger. More than 1 million species are at risk of extinction, and wildlife populations have crashed 70% since 1970. The global nature crisis is also a human rights crisis, affecting the rights to life, health, food, water, adequate livelihoods, and a clean, healthy, sustainable environment, as well as the rights of the child and cultural rights. But all of us depend on plants and plankton for the oxygen in the air we breathe. We all depend on pollinators and soil microorganisms for the food we eat, and humanity is ultimately dependent on nature. Biodiversity decline is most devastating, however, for the people who are most directly dependent on nature. For example, indigenous peoples are struggling to defend the lands and waters upon which their rights depend from the insatiable appetites of extractive industries. Small-scale fishers and their rights are being harmed by industrial overfishing and the die-off of coral reefs. Human rights-based approaches are the single most effective and equitable path forward to conserve, protect, and restore nature, to sustainably use and to equitably share the benefits of nature. There are three main reasons for this. First, rights-based approaches are a catalyst for accelerated action to protect biodiversity, as we have witnessed in leading states such as Costa Rica, the Maldives, and Slovenia. Second, rights-based approaches ensure accountability through institutions and processes that are lacking in environmental treaties like the Convention on Biological Diversity. The Torres Strait Islanders recently secured a powerful decision from the UN Human Rights Committee, finding that Australia violated their human rights by taking inadequate adaptation action and therefore must accelerate the pace of climate action and pay compensation. The third reason is that rights-based approaches ensure that we put our focus on the most vulnerable and marginalized populations to meet their needs and fulfill their rights. It is completely unacceptable in the 21st century to evict indigenous peoples or other nature-dependent communities from the territories upon which their cultures depend in order to create strictly protected areas. Scientific evidence makes it clear that human rights-based conservation works. Look at indigenous-led protected areas in Canada and Australia, or the community-based conservancies in Namibia. When indigenous peoples manage lands, they are very effective at conserving biodiversity, as effective or sometimes more effective than government-managed protected areas. And not only do these protected areas have high levels of biodiversity, but they are contributing in many places to the resurgence of traditional cultures with immense social and economic benefits for those involved in management and stewardship. The Aichi biodiversity targets never mentioned human rights at all, and that's a key reason why none of the Aichi targets were fully met. With time running out to protect and restore nature, we must learn from the lessons of the past. Therefore, it is a major advance that human rights-based approaches to conservation are at the heart of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Human rights, indigenous rights, gender equity, and the right to a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment are all included. Another critical issue is funding. The finance gap is hundreds of billions of dollars and must be closed ASAP, as soon as possible, through actions such as redirecting subsidies away from activities that harm nature towards activities that protect and restore nature. We must also make polluters and nature wreckers pay, and we must also close tax avoidance and evasion loopholes. Collectively, these activities could provide hundreds of billions of dollars annually in new funding for biodiversity conservation. At the end of the day, human rights and nature's health are inextricably interconnected. Without human rights, effective conservation is impossible. And without effective conservation, the full enjoyment of human rights is impossible. A human rights-based approach to protecting, conserving, and restoring nature is an obligation for states under international human rights law and international environmental law. an obligation, not an option. Thank you very much.